Life teaches us that bonds can break, leaving us with emotional weight. What do you do when someone you cared for is no longer in your life? Can you truly detach without losing yourself? In this video, discover 5 Stoic rules that can help you navigate these emotional challenges. Rule 1. Understanding life's impermanence. Let's take a moment to reflect on impermanence in life. This idea may seem obvious, but few of us truly grasp it. We build relationships, form bonds, and pour our emotions into these connections. But when they change or end, we're often left facing pain and loss. According to Stoic philosophy, particularly Marcus Aurelius, he reminds us, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. This insight isn't just about recognizing the transience of all things, but also about how we perceive what happens around us. Everything, our feelings, experiences, and relationships, is temporary. Stoicism holds that impermanence is at the very core of life. Everything we hold dear, our family, friends, loved ones, even ourselves, will change and ultimately fade over time. Accepting this impermanence isn't about becoming detached or indifferent, but about preparing ourselves to face the inevitable changes that life brings. To bring this idea to life, let me share a personal story. I once had a close friend for over 10 years with whom I shared everything: dreams, fears, countless late-night conversations. We were there for each other through so many meaningful moments, and I believed our friendship would endure no matter what life threw at us. But over time, things shifted. We saw each other less, talked less, and slowly drifted apart. I tried to hold on, hoping things would go back to how they were, that we would be close again. Eventually, though, I realized that holding on was only making me more stressed and unhappy. The friendship had run its course, not because anyone did anything wrong, but simply because life had changed, and so had we. In that moment, I remembered Marcus Aurelius' words about impermanence and realized that accepting it would free me from unnecessary emotional weight. When we view impermanence as a natural part of life, letting go becomes easier. Why accepting impermanence matters. Accepting life's impermanence makes us mentally flexible, and when we cling to things that are temporary, we set ourselves up for suffering. But when we understand that everything has an end, we see there's no need to hold on, nor to fear loss. This doesn't mean we don't value what we have, quite the opposite. Knowing things are fleeting helps us value the present moment even more. Embracing impermanence lets us release past burdens and free our minds to enjoy what's happening here and now. A Stoic lesson: living in the present. One of the most valuable lessons of Stoic philosophy is learning to live in the present. When you know that everything will change, it's easier to focus on the moment without being distracted by the past or worried about the future. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not let yourself be disturbed by imagining your whole life. Face each difficulty as it arises with calmness and patience. Imagine you're holding a handful of sand at the beach. The tighter you try to hold onto it, the faster it slips through your fingers." Similarly, in life, when we cling too tightly to a relationship or moment, we unintentionally create pressure and lose what we cherish. Letting go doesn't mean not caring. It means allowing things to unfold naturally and appreciating what truly remains. Accept impermanence as a natural part of life. Value what you have, but don't bind yourself to temporary things. Recognizing impermanence helps you release unnecessary burdens and live more freely without being tied down by the past or worrying about the future. This is the first step toward finding inner peace and living a happier life, no matter the changes around us. If you've ever gone through a difficult breakup or loss and found it hard to let go, take some time to reflect on life's impermanence. Share your story or a lesson you've learned in the comments below. Let's learn from each other and find peace through Stoic wisdom. Rule 2. Control your emotions through reason. When life places us in difficult situations, emotions naturally arise, often feelings of pain, anger, or disappointment. These emotions are a normal part of being human. What sets Stoics apart, though, is their ability to regulate emotions through reason, to avoid letting emotions control their actions and thoughts. This doesn't mean becoming cold, but rather learning to take charge of emotions, using reason to see things clearly and reduce unnecessary suffering. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This reminds us that while we can't control life's events, we can control our reactions. Using reason to manage emotions means recognizing that emotions are the product of our thoughts, beliefs, and interpretations, not objective reality. For example, when someone says something negative about us, our first reaction might be anger or hurt. But reason helps us pause, examine whether their words have meaning, and choose a response that doesn't let negative emotions take over. Stoicism teaches that emotions aren't enemies, but rather things we need to understand and manage. When emotions flare up, ask yourself, does this feeling help me? Is it justified? This isn't easy, but over time, we can train ourselves to use reason to calmly control emotions, rather than letting them rule us. Imagine you're going through a breakup. The feelings of sorrow and emptiness might overwhelm every thought. You may start asking yourself, why did this happen? How could they leave me? But these questions only deepen the pain. This is where reason can step in and help you step out of the emotional whirlwind. Instead of getting lost in unanswerable questions, reason helps you see the breakup as the result of a series of events and choices. When you accept that you can't change the past, the negative emotions lose their grip. You begin to see that while emotions are powerful, they don't reveal the whole truth. Reason doesn't ignore emotion. It helps us see emotion from an objective place. Imagine the post-breakup scenario again. You may feel sad and hurt initially, but consider it from a logical perspective. You can't control another person's actions, only how you respond. By acknowledging that the other person had a right to their own choices, you start to let go of the emotional weight. At this moment, instead of viewing this breakup as a personal failure, consider it an opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of yourself. Let reason guide you to learn from this experience, not to blame yourself, but to grow stronger and gain better control over your emotions in similar situations. As Marcus Aurelius put it, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Recognizing that emotions are shaped by our thoughts and that we can control them through reason makes us stronger in life's challenges. It doesn't mean you won't feel sad or hurt, but it does mean you can choose to respond to them in a balanced way. Imagine emotions as a storm. When negative emotions hit, they can feel as overwhelming as a fierce storm, clouding your mind. But when you use reason, it's like standing in a safe house, watching the storm from the outside. Reason is that safe house, protecting you from emotional chaos. When we learn to control emotions through reason, we don't become emotionless, we become healthier in how we experience life. Reason helps us avoid rash decisions and stay calm and clear in our actions. If you've ever faced difficult times and felt overwhelmed by emotion, try applying this rule. Don't forget to share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help someone find peace in a tough moment. Rule 3, practice negative visualization. Negative visualization might sound counterintuitive, as it seems unnatural to think about unpleasant or painful possibilities. Yet this is an essential Stoic practice that helps us prepare mentally for life's inevitable setbacks and prevents emotional breakdowns when they happen. This isn't about pessimism, but about building resilience to face loss and hardship more calmly. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not disturb yourself by imagining the whole of your life's troubles at once. Rather, as each arises, meet it with calmness and self-control." Negative visualization is a way for Stoics to build resilience by mentally rehearsing potential hardships, which strengthens patience and endurance. Imagine a relationship that means a lot to you, perhaps with a spouse, close friend, or family member. This bond may feel irreplaceable, but Stoics encourage us to imagine life without that person, not to prepare for something awful, but to soften the blow if it ever happens. Imagine going through your daily life without them, and think about how you would cope. While uncomfortable at first, this mental practice builds resilience and emotional strength. Once, I had a very close friend who I thought would be part of my life forever. We shared so many important moments and supported each other through challenges. But as time passed, life pulled us apart. Initially, it was heartbreaking, but as I began practicing negative visualization, I mentally prepared for a life without that friendship. When it eventually ended, it still hurt, but I was more prepared for the loss, the benefits of negative visualization. Practicing negative visualization reminds us that nothing in life is guaranteed. Preparing for worst-case scenarios reduces our dependency on others and strengthens us from within. This doesn't mean we wish for bad things to happen, but rather we accept that they can, and we're ready. When loss happens, we're not caught off guard and can face it with resilience. Think of negative visualization like a mental vaccine. Just as a vaccine prepares your body to fight illness, negative visualization prepares your mind to handle hardship. By imagining difficult situations, you won't be blindsided by them when they happen. Instead, you'll be equipped to respond. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized meeting each challenge as it arises. Do not disturb yourself by imagining the whole of your life's troubles at once. Rather, as each arises, meet it with calmness and self-control. Stoics don't dwell on negative thoughts, but instead use them to remind themselves of life's temporary nature. When you understand that everything can be lost, you'll live with gratitude unburdened by fear. Imagine looking at a candle. Like relationships, it will eventually burn out, no matter how carefully you tend it. Negative visualization is about accepting that the candle will burn out, not trying to keep it forever. This approach lets you enjoy the light while it's there and be ready when it fades. This lesson isn't about becoming cold or distant, but about cultivating calmness and mental strength to face life's losses. Accepting impermanence teaches us to appreciate the present without fear of parting. This way, we live with more freedom and less attachment. The lesson from the negative thinking in Stoic philosophy is not to become cold or indifferent, but to enhance our calmness and ability to face losses. When we accept that everything can be lost, we learn to appreciate the present without fearing separation. This allows us to live a freer life, unbound by attachment to things that may disappear. If you've experienced loss and struggled to accept change, try practicing negative visualization. Imagine the possibility of losing what you have, not to become pessimistic, but to prepare yourself to live with awareness. If you have thoughts on this practice, share your story in the comments. Let's explore the power of the mind in facing life's uncertainties together. Rule 4, focus on what you can control. One of the core principles of Stoic philosophy is understanding the boundary between what we can and cannot control. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that peace comes from focusing on what we can control and letting go of everything else. He stressed, we should only focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. In life, we often make the mistake of trying to control too many things, from other people's behavior to the outcomes of situations beyond our reach. This often leads to disappointment and suffering because we place our hopes and expectations on things we cannot influence. Stoics remind us that the only thing we can truly control is ourselves, our thoughts, actions, and how we respond to situations. When we realize this, we're no longer bound by disappointment when things don't go our way. Instead, we learn to focus inwardly, adjusting our thoughts and behavior to achieve peace and clarity. Imagine having a friend or family member who often does things that irritate or disappoint you. Maybe they're frequently late, don't listen when you speak, or make choices that negatively impact their life. Out of love, you might invest a lot of time and effort in advising, persuading, or even arguing with them in hopes of changing their behavior. Yet, despite your best efforts, nothing changes. The person keeps doing what they've always done. This can lead to frustration or even hurt, as all your efforts seem unacknowledged. Eventually, you realize that you cannot control someone else's actions no matter how hard you try. Through this experience, you discover the freedom of focusing on what you can control, yourself and your reactions. Instead of trying to change others, you learn to accept that they have the right to make their own choices, and you can decide how to interact with or respond to them. In Stoicism, we're encouraged to adjust our responses to the world rather than attempting to change the world itself. This means that instead of trying to change other people's behavior, we should focus on changing our own. When we accept that we cannot control others, we feel more liberated, free from expectations that may never be met. For instance, if you get annoyed when someone is habitually late, rather than pressuring them to be on time, you could learn to manage your own feelings. You might see this as an opportunity to practice patience, or simply accept that punctuality isn't as important to everyone as it is to you. In this way, you reduce stress and build a better relationship with that person. Marcus Aurelius advised us to concentrate on what lies within our control. We should only focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. This helps us avoid disappointment and suffering when things don't go our way. When we understand that the only thing we truly control is our thoughts and actions, we learn to let go and accept what we cannot change. Imagine holding a balloon on a windy day. No matter how tightly you grip it, the wind will push it around. Eventually, you realize that the wind is beyond your control. The only thing you can decide is how you hold the balloon, or even whether to let it go and allow it to drift naturally. Similarly, when we accept that some factors are beyond our control, we feel relief and avoid unnecessary tension. Focusing on what we can control is a valuable lesson in finding inner peace. When we accept that we can't control everything, we're not disappointed when things don't turn out as expected. Concentrating on what's within our reach, ourselves, is the best way to live freely and peacefully. If you've ever tried to change someone or control something beyond your reach and felt disappointed, consider practicing this rule in your life. Share your experience below and how you overcame frustration by focusing on what you could control. Let's learn together and help each other find peace of mind. Rule 5. Reflect on the bigger picture. Life brings challenges, pain, and worries that can make us feel like we're caught in an endless storm. When we're in the midst of suffering or hardship, it's easy to feel consumed by it, thinking that our lives are defined by this painful moment. However, Stoic philosophy reminds us that our troubles and fears are just brief moments in the vast flow of time. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Our troubles, fears, and desires are merely fleeting moments in the infinite flow of time." This wisdom encourages us to pause, take a deep breath, and think about the bigger picture. By doing so, we can ease our suffering and stress, understanding that this is only one part of our journey. Reflecting on the bigger picture means looking at life holistically beyond temporary pain and worry. When we face hardship, failure, or the end of a relationship, it's important not to let these negative feelings consume us entirely. Instead, remember that life holds more than just this one difficult experience. It's filled with joy, opportunity, and potential waiting ahead. Stoicism isn't about avoiding emotions, but rather placing them in a broader context. When we see the bigger picture, we realize that everything is temporary. A crisis or pain in one moment does not define your entire life. Recognizing this makes it easier to get through tough times. Imagine going through a difficult phase in your career or personal life. Maybe you've just experienced a major setback at work or gone through a breakup. In such moments, the feeling of disappointment, pain, and loss can make life seem bleak. You may feel submerged in a sea of sadness, struggling to find hope. I once went through a rough patch in my career, facing numerous challenges at once and feeling exhausted and lost. Each day felt like a battle, and I felt trapped in an endless cycle. But then I remembered Marcus Aurelius' wisdom, which reminded me that all pain and difficulty are fleeting moments in the flow of time. When I began to see life from a wider perspective, I realized that my current struggles were just a small part of my journey. I saw that I still had many opportunities, good things ahead, and good things ahead. This helped me calm down, no longer weighed down by sadness and stress. I learned to accept this challenging phase as a natural part of life and found new motivation to keep going. The benefits of seeing the bigger picture. Reflecting on life's bigger picture not only helps reduce suffering, but also brings peace of mind. When we know that challenges are temporary, we won't be dragged down by pain or despair. Instead, we learn to accept and move past it, knowing that life continues and we still have plenty of chances to experience joy, happiness, and success. When you focus on the bigger picture, you also gain a deeper appreciation for each moment. You'll realize that even difficult moments bring valuable lessons. Each challenge is an opportunity to learn, grow stronger, and be better prepared for the future. This approach not only helps you overcome hardship, but also builds your character. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Our troubles, fears, and desires are merely fleeting moments in the infinite flow of time." This serves as a reminder that life is more than just one moment. Life is a continuous journey, where each moment, whether difficult or joyful, is just one small part. When we accept this, we find it easier to let go of temporary worries and look forward to a brighter future. Imagine life as a vast ocean, with each ripple on the surface representing a moment, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent. If you only focus on one ripple, you might feel anxious or fearful, thinking that's all there is. But when you take a step back and see the whole ocean, you understand that these ripples are just one part of a much larger picture. Similarly, life's difficulties are just brief moments in a greater journey. By reflecting on the bigger picture, we come to realize that all pain and difficulty are just temporary parts of life's long journey. No hardship lasts forever, and today's struggles will become memories and valuable lessons in the future. Embracing the bigger picture not only helps us move through tough times, but also provides us with peace to continue living a meaningful life. If you're going through a difficult time right now, try taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture. Remember that all pain is temporary and doesn't define your entire life. Share your experience or the lessons you've learned from tough times in the comments below. Together, we can find peace and motivation to keep moving forward in life. Thank you for joining me in exploring these Stoic principles and rules to help us stay grounded during life's challenges. From accepting impermanence to managing emotions and focusing on what we can control, each rule opens a path to inner peace and strength. Remember, all pain and challenges are only temporary, and seeing the bigger picture can bring you peace. If you found these principles helpful, try applying them in your life and share them to spread this value to others. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss future content. Leave a comment with your thoughts or experiences. Your story might help others on their journey. Once again, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.